I enjoy this and what you'll think. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few webcomics. We may even come and see others in the future. But who knows, it's going to be a while before we even finish this in here, so just going to maximise my window. I thought it already was, but there we go. So John, get the PDA. Where's my cursor? Okay, serious business. The following matters have been submitted in a frank and forthright manner for Pipe Fan 413's judicious appraisal. Grey/666 decided to return home for a fresh tie. Soiled tile will be laundered immediately upon return. Use ballpoint pen to roll up tip of cloth, extract pen, press roiled cloth against ceramic surface, e.g. restroom sink. In future, consider repositioning hat hook under a coffee pot. Photographic documentation of incident. While posturing unevenly to reach for hat on wall hook, tip of tie slipped in open mouth of pot. Duration of dunk approximately 3 seconds. PL ELAB on incident. Need counsel on removing coffee from necktie. Incident occurred 45 seconds ago. Beverages essences rapidly setting into fabric. Very serious business, eh? Grab the PDA, switching back to stack mode so it is readily accessible. The interface is oddly sterile. No hilarious clown wallpapers or anything like that. Oops, you mean Harlequin wallpapers. Serious business applications open. Assuming your dad uses to keep tabs on various fellow street performers, maybe? You guessed, the performing arts must be pretty serious business after all. Still pester shop. Okay, so that's that app we're using for. This should be useful. You can now keep tabs on your charms while you wander around the house. Go out to the balcony. Just a quick note, apparently, I think it's the glasses of John Egbert were used as inspiration for Alcus's glasses in Deltarune and Undertow. Just a cool little factoid, I thought. Examine Alchemida in a cautious manner. I just realised we had a pest log. It's like some sort of ritual circle. No idea what to do with this thing. You can't find any controls, so having exhausted all other possibilities, you decide to just stand up. This isn't very cautious of you, actually. Through a telescope. Clear sunny day, nothing out of the ordinary to report, at least not beyond the walls of your own home. Grab the soil toilet. Show pest log. TC books. RB book spot. What's that noise? Is this something I should go investigate? No, I have it under control. You can keep playing with your telescope. He's like wrecked the toy. I think I can patch it up. Just give me a little space. Why don't you have a look at the crux to the what? The thing I put in your living room. Top down the hole. To the utility room, get sledgehammer and card. Striped spectrus. Take the sledgehammer and castor card, combine the two and quickly apply it to a striped spectrus. You think it's cool that things don't always have to be a federal fucking issue? Looks like another one of your chums is pestering you on your PDA answer chum. John, did you get my package? Oh hey, no, not yet. Darn, are you sure it was in a green box? Oh yes, it's in my dad's car and he's still out of the store. He should be back soon. Great, so what are you up to today? I'm up to my neck in this suburb stuff. It's making a royal mess out of my house. Well, what's a suburb? Oh, it's this game. It's okay, I guess. I'm still figuring it out. Well, what was that? What was what? There's a loud noise outside my house. It sounded like an explosion. No, really. I'll go outside and look. Oh man, alright, but be careful, okay? I will. Might as well go check out the customer. Oh, long pestilence. Oh hell no, you put this thing in front of the door? There's a door there? Yeah, I didn't see it. I just thought it fit nicely into that groove. You mean you thought it was elegant? Okay, well what do I do with this thing? Hello? What are you doing there now? It's like Sims in real life, I love it. Oh fuck. Indeed. Salmon wheel on crux to it. When you turn the wheel, something seems to be pushing up from underneath the lid, but you aren't strong enough to make the lid come off. Put bathtub in the driveway. Connection lost. I'm going to have to do a connection. On the tub's journey to the driveway, the connection is interrupted. Spell TT. You can see me, right? Tell me what's wrong with this picture. Sorry, I keep losing wireless signal. Must be the weather. I'd look for a stronger signal in another part of the house, but I'd rather not risk an encounter with my mother. I battled through her cloud of gin and derision once already this evening. Yeah, I hear you. Yes, cake, gestures, unfaltering love and support. Quite a road to hoe there. But I suppose I'm complicit for not informing social services about your situation. I know. What about going outside? Maybe you could catch a neighbour's signal. That presents the same problem. Also, it's raining, remember? And dark. It's dark already? Yes, the sun has already had its way with us here on the east coast. Its lurid glare has moved on to younger times, though. Okay. He crashed it all sledgehammer. Need some help? Pick up sledgehammer. The animations are quite adorable in this, I must say. What is this thing, and what is that clock counting down to? I've been looking at the GameFAQs walkthroughs to figure out some of this stuff. GameFAQs, one of my favourite websites actually. Hold on while I read further. Okay, all these walkthroughs are extremely short and none progress much further than this point. Weird, I mean, it is a new game. True, now the lid is off, we need to extrude some cruxite. Turn the wheel again. It's making some materials, is it? You extrude one cruxite dowel. Get cruxite. I feel like we should be hurrying. That countdown is making me nervous. Oh, your PDA is trapped under the cruxite now, isn't it? Anyway, it looks like you're going to need this card too. Deploy pre-punched card. A shard of glass is expelled from the deck and names the Harlequin doll. Capture log festival Harlequins. I thought there was a fly there, it's just the high place. You take 2 fanciful Harlequins. The additional useless sprite pushes your PDA to the last card. You then switch to the Q motor so you can access PDA. More glass shrapnel flies from the deck. thing keeps following me around. I think it's trying to talk to me or something. That is probably the kernel sprite. It apparently needs to be prototyped twice actually, whatever the hell that means. These walkthroughs are horrendously written. Okay. Well, you're the one with the cursor, so just do whatever you think is the right thing to do. Also, fix my bathroom. Drop main Harlequin into kernel sprite. The kernel sprite has been prototyped with the Harlequin door. Understand half of what's happening here, I've got to say. Use pre-punched card with the alchemiter. Oops, missed a pestle again, but I'm sure it's nothing life-changing. There's no slot for a card anywhere to be found on the alchemiter. The kernel sprite follows you upstairs. Explore Athenum. Perfectly generic object. Acquiring a Cruxite Dow seems to have populated the Athenum with one item, a perfectly generic object. Castalog telescope. You snatch the telescope from its tripod. Who knows, it might be useful, or more importantly, it pushes the Cruxite to the last card, making it available for tinkering. PDA is predictably jettisons into the yard over the neighbour's fence. Put Cruxite on weird pattern on alchemite. Place the Cruxite Dow on the alchemite to a small pedestal. Something is happening. Set the alchemiter to cast 3 perfectly generic objects for some reason, expending a total of 6 units of build grist. These things look completely useless. What a waste. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice there's something in the sky. Switch modus and use telescope to inspect sky. You switch back to stack modus and get a close look at the telescope. Whatever it is, the kernel sprite seems particularly agitated about it. Apologies again, quickly, you can hear a reverb, it's probably my fan in the background. I have sacrificed greatly by turning my fan up even though it's 35 degrees. This makes video because it's very loud, my aircon. You're going to have to give the fan, it's just too hot for me to do without. Good way to hear some music, because I thought this webcomic had good music, but I have to experience some at some point. Not good. What's that, a meteor? God. So there's a meteor coming, or what's going on? No astronomer, but its trajectory looks suspiciously head-on with your current perspective. This is a troubling development. High 5 kernels, right? Figure out you've left him hanging long enough. Attempt to ingest a unit of build grist. It is tempting because they strongly resemble rock and blue raspberry gushes. However, units of build grist are a gaming abstraction and do not seem to exist on the physical plane. There is apparently no crisis so imminent that would deter you from contemplating idiotic and frivolous actions. Sometimes the text is a bit like over the top funny in a good way, and then other times it just goes a long way when they start talking about these weird contraptions. It's cool writing, whoever wrote this. I'm sure they're neat and they did a good job. Pretty entertaining. Should have passed along. Your dad is getting home. John, what did you do for PDA this time? I'm working on the bathroom, but we are running low on build grist. Revised bathroom. You want to fix that bathroom before Dad gets home, don't you? Revised bathroom. contact TT through gesture. Two chums have been trying to mess with you, aren't you, chums? I'm working on the bathroom, but we're running low on bill grist. I meant to test about the bathroom now. There's some media heading for my house. I see. Do you suppose anything to do with the game? I don't know. Maybe. What do I do? I think it's very likely. The walkthrough vaguely suggests an impending threat before the end. The already poorly constructed sentences become even more curt and ambiguous, as if written hastily into a sense of alarm. Actually, their dedication to updating the walkthrough under such circumstances is admirable. Fascinating. If the media is a game construct, I think the only thing to do is proceed and try and solve the dilemma on the game terms. Try using the lathe. It says you can use the card on it, but it isn't more specific than that. Okay, I'll do that. Really, it is a labour to read this drill. If I read any more, my brain will be spoon-fed from a jar, or blow spit bubbles in a high shed. I think I'll write my own walkthrough. That is, after you make sure you don't die. Techno Godhead began pestering ectobiologists. I heard you got the box. I hope you appreciate my heroic fatherly perseverance in getting it to you. In my rough and tumble, dirty wife beaterly sort of way, I also hope you appreciate how many no-talent douches had their mitts on that bunny before you. It's likely a grubby baton in some huge douchebag marathon. Hey, where are you? I mean, the bunny was awesome, but I don't have time to talk. I'm playing Suburban. It's kind of a nightmare. TT is breaking everything in my house. Dude, I told you to steer clear of that game, and for that matter, you should probably wash your hands of filthy broads and their snarky horse shit altogether. And now there's a meteor coming. I'm not even joking about that. It's like a big asteroid or comet or something in the sky, heading right for my house. Oh man, how big is it? I don't know. Big, I guess? I gotta go. We'll talk later when I'm still alive and the Earth isn't blown up. Like the size of Texas, or just Rhode Island. They're always throwing around these geographical comparisons to sense of scale like it really means anything to us. But it doesn't matter. It's always just like, wow, that's pretty fucking big. Like, Mr. President, there's a meteor coming, sir. Oh yeah, how big is it? It's the size of Texas, sir. Oh shit. Well, how big is it? It's the size of New York City, sir. Oh shit. Sir, I'm afraid the comment is the size of your mum's dick. Oh snap. Sir, are you familiar with Jupiter? You mean the planet? Yeah. Well, it's that big, sir. That sounds pretty big. I have a question. Is it Jupiter? Yes, sir. Earth is literally under siege by planet fucking Jupiter. Oh shit. Anyway, later. Use pre-punched card on the totem lathe. You slip the pre-punched card into a slot on the totem lathe. Above the tool arm deploys a configuration of chisels. Now you just need something to lay. Take Cruxite to totem lathe. Cursing your lack of foresight, you return to the balcony for the Cruxite dowel you left on the pedestal. You navigate the hallway in view of your dad, who is presently puzzling over the new fixture in his hallway. He's put that question mark over his head again. It's funny. Perfect crime. Retrieve the Cruxite dowel. Dad just shrugs, heads back downstairs, presumably to do some more baking. If only he knew you were hard at work saving his ass. Use Cruxite dowel on totem lathe. Clamp the Cruxite in the lathe. Activate lathe. Making a wonder. The lathe carves one totem. You take the totem. Alright, I used the lathe to make this blue shapey thing. Now I guess I can take it back to the alchemy mixer again. Hello? Tentacle therapist is no longer connected. Ugh. sure if this would have actually saved my game where I left it, but it actually did, which was really nice. And then I just scroll through the page to get back to the exact point of actually last time. It's the point in this game's favour, well, webcomic's favour. And I know I have a lot of tabs open, I'm terrible at that. I have like tons of tabs open on my laptop and tablet at most times. I just like it. Who are we now? Another protagonist. A young lady stands in her room. Due to a violent storm, her house has just lost power, along with her wireless internet connection. This is evidently linked to popular video games, which is playing with a young man at a critical moment. That young man is relying on this young lady to re-establish connection somehow. This young lady is named. It's on the tip of your tongue. What was the name of this young lady again? Light and broad? No, that wasn't it. One more time. Rose Lalonde? That's it. Room. I want to see where the trolls are. Although I don't know a lot about this game, but I read it takes actually like a lot. Like you got to get into several chapters before we actually encounter a troll. Probably going to be a while. Might not happen in this episode, but I want to see them. Your name is Rose. As was previously mentioned, you are without electricity, although your laptop computer still functions on battery power. You have a variety of interests. You have a passion for rather obscure literature. You enjoy creative writing and are somewhat secretive about it. You have a fondness for bestiality, strange and fictitious, and sometimes dabble in psychoanalysis. You also like to knit, and your room is a bit of a mess, and on occasion, if just the right one strikes your fancy, you like to play video games with your friends. What will you do? Retrieve arms from the purple box. Purple package's contents are private. No one is allowed to look inside. Reef like a bagel gum and puke on your bed. What a terrible idea. The thought alone makes it sick to your stomach. Stroke writing journal and mutter, my precious. Precious. You would only resort to such embarrassing activity while no one was watching. These journals are for your eyes only. Get violent. You know I'm watching. Catalogue the violin, storing it in the root card of your Silodex. Play a haunting refrain on violin. I know what it is, but I really like the word refrain. You waste approximately 40 seconds playing the violin while your friend is in peril. Last time now, this music, sweetheart. Tell Liv Tyler you love her before you play. Cool. You're ready up for the first taste of music in this game. It's not going to last. Since your good for nothing friend is obviously not going to bail you out in time, you issue words of parting fondness to dear sweet Liv. Oh, if only a Fleck could have been the one to make the final sacrifice instead of a stubborn blue collar salt of the earth father, then she would fall into your arms for consolation, and you would be the one to make the deceased Bruce Willis proud. Catch the log living squad. So we're back to John Edinburgh. Back to Rose. Get the knitting bag. It occupies the left leaf card under the violin. Per the tree mode, this is the alphabetical sorting mode. Look out window. Panoramic window offers a view of the yard below and the mausoleum housing your dead cat Jaspers, who died when you were young. Your mum had the structure erected with a spirit of schoolful irony in response to your youthfully innocent request to hold a funeral for your animal. At least this is how you'd come to interpret the gesture in retrospect. You can also make out a silhouette of the laboratory next door, a facility which likely broadcasts a strong wireless internet signal. You may be able to connect to the signal from a different part of the house. Perhaps if you seek higher ground, get laptop. Take your laptop and prepare to make your journey through the house. This causes the tree to be unbalanced, so your Silodex auto-balances itself. Now the laptop occupies the root car, while the other two items comprise the leaves. Examine the book on desk. Grandma for summoning zoologically dubious. This book is absolutely indispensable for enthusiasts of your ilk, of which there are very few. Take the book. Take the grimoire. It's another word I like for some reason. The grimoire. I want a grimoire. Cool poster on the wall there. You leave your room. Hanging just next to your door in the hallway is a painting of an exquisite wizard. Your mother collects these awful things, ironically. She must know how much you detest them. There is no doubt in your mind she stores these dreadful things in the house to bother you. Down the hall to the right is the observatory. Perhaps you'll be able to connect from up there. Mother's room is also in that direction. You'll have to watch your step. Tiptoe to the observatory. I always about these kids, they're often paranoid and bump into their parents. But I suppose most teenagers are roughly the same, aren't they? Trying to avoid their folks. You approach a juncture in the hallway. Beyond the juncture is the observatory. The other observatory in the house, that's pretty cool. Sneak by. That's nice as a silhouette there. Mum with the wine glass. Must be a lot of work to draw these pictures though. It still leads up to the observatory. You haven't ventured up there in quite some time. Go through door. It's raining, is it? I guess that's why the signal is bad. The door opens to an exterior walkway leading to the observatory entrance. You've seen less inclement weather before. Oh, the things you'll do to help out a friend. Hurry up that observatory. Try to connect. First, put your laptop down on the floor and get it situated, but removing it from the root card causes all the branches and leaves to be severed. The items are dumped unceremoniously on the floor. See what you can observe. You're in a hurry, sure, but that doesn't mean you can't take a moment to peek through the huge telescope. Find a gap in the clouds. It seems a flurry of small meteoroids is streaking steadily overhead. You're not sure what this means, but it is somewhat disconcerting. Stack laptop on grimoire to maximise elevation. Disconcerting, right? That'll freak me the hell out. I'm not sure what I'll be on bloody meteor coming. You need every advantage you can get. Access laboratory Wi-Fi network. Okay, base, that's cool. Kind of looks like a Fanface website. There are several signals being broadcast from the library, each of relatively decent strength. One of them is mysteriously and quite conveniently unsecured. Requiring no password, you set the signal and reconnect to the game with John. Time is going down. I'm back. Hurry up and open my door. Not that it even matters. I think I'm probably dead no matter what. Patience. You haven't used the new totem. I believe it will create the item on the punch card. So it isn't like an apple or something. What will it even do? We'll see. I found no evidence that anyone successfully created the item. And the content of the card is to be variable from session to session. In one instance it was described as an eggy looking thing and Do we have enough of those building jewels to make it? According to the Athen, it is a free item. It speaks to its importance in my view. Now off you go. Remove dwarf hinges. There goes the rest of your build, Chris. Good path up back. You probably should have just done this in the first place. Take token to Alchemiter. Got to get those stupid blocks out of the way first. The Colonel Sprite is getting awfully worked up about all this. Remove blocks. You store the perfectly generic objects in your Finalia registry, potentially to be deployed at a later time. Take a bite of apple. End of Act 1. One made it to the end of the first act. Wow, that's a little milestone. What's going to happen next, I wonder? It's getting interested in this game. Years in the future, not many. A wayward vagabond records a stuttering step in the sun-bleached dust. Going back again. I'd like to read this. I guess so, it's pretty long. Let's see. Superb beta walkthrough. I'd be inclined to dispense with the trite, even under less pressing circumstances. Needless to say, I'll forego the inscrutable ACII banner which typically heralds strike and freefall of these documents. I'll also resist the urge to brandish my copyright marks, or the particular neurosis that concerns itself with the theft of the utterly mundane. I'll allow other deranged prospectors to stake claims on their worthless plots as the woods burn around them. My introduction will be sparse. There will be no majestic prose blustering into the sails of a galleon as we embark on this voyage together, nor will there be any hanified prose whipping its limbs under a bedsheet like a retarded ghost for that matter. I won't set the stage or dim the lights. The mood, you will see, will be set soon enough. Since you're reading this, chances are you've likely installed the game in your memory. If this is true, like many others, they've just participated in bringing about the end of the world. But don't beat yourself up about it. There's never anything you could have done to prevent it. The end is happening right now as I type, as you read. I have come to understand that we were always doomed to collect, and we're always doomed through our collective ignorance, and now further doomed by those few who know and struggle to flee. If you're lucky, you'll be among the smaller subset of the latter who are successful. What I mean is that the game you installed is just one more grinding slab of rock sealing our planet's crypt. It is also your only hope to live. I presently face the same conundrum as you, and though I speak with more experience, my own outcome is far from short. I will play the game as much of it there is to play and record my findings here. If you want to live, you will do as I instruct. My condolences, TT. That's that poorly written game facts I was talking about. They're bloody poorly written too, but it's just very convoluted. That's a good way. The kernel divides. The two halves go their separate ways, leaving behind the sprite portion. Boy. What is left of the sprite undergoes a mysterious transformation. For a moment you heard someone say boy as it whispered in your periphery of your awareness. It was probably just your imagination though. You there, boy? Must be that. Can't remember his name. Colonel Sprite doing this. You there, boy? What? Okay, let's start again. What? Boy, listen to me, boy. His name is John, you nincompoop. Boy, where's John? Do as I say. What would you like boy who is John to do? Obey my commands, John boy. And those commands would be, I'd like the boy to interact with his environment in a constructive manner. Maybe you should be a little more specific. Have the boy assess his current situation. I'm afraid I can't have the boy do that. Tell him to do it yourself. Okay. That instruction does not do anything at the moment. Could you please turn the controls over to a more competent user? Increasingly sophomoric. Also, you almost spelled salad in there. Two options. Boy, couldn't be scurrying around. For the last time, this boy's name is John. Fine, John, return to your quarters. Go back up to your bedroom, tiptoeing around this weird petroleum-based sludge. Now, John, respond to your friend unit. Pestilog. John, are you there? Tentacles therapist, TT, is now an idle chum. Hey, yeah, I'm here. And not dead, I think. I know, I've been watching you scramble through the house like a lunatic. You should have answered me sooner. Hey man, sorry, I was looking around for my dad and I can't find him anywhere. Have you seen him? No, I'm sure he'll turn up. There are more important things to address right now. Yeah, like where am I? I don't know that either, but I've determined your neighbourhood was destroyed by the media. Whoever you were transported is saved from the impact. They're reading reports in the news. Over the last few days, there have been many smaller media collisions with people's houses around the world. And they seem to be getting bigger. Yours was the biggest they've identified so far. Wow, okay. So then, I guess, if this is all the game's doing, then the point is for us to save the world? Perhaps. We better get moving and figure this game out. Yes, but wait. We should retrieve the PDA, yet again. It will help to keep tabs on each other while we investigate. I think I can get you closer to it if I can replenish our grist supply somewhat. Maybe we might recycle some that we already used. Okay, I'll meet you out on the balcony. Wait, Rose, one thing. What? You've never even wished me happy birthday. Hello? I was waiting on something to send you, but I'm running late with it. I didn't want you to think I believed meagre well wishes alone would suffice for the occasion. That said, happy birthday, John. Oh jeez, that is silly. Anyway, thanks. Take the fabric item on the floor there. The towel? Why? Oh well, you're the boss. You catalogue the towel. What now? Do as the purple text says, to the balcony. John makes his way to the balcony per your awkwardly worded request. Wait, take that, the blue wobbly thing. Blue wobbly thing. Decide to catch the log potation which was used to create the apple tree earlier. John, recycle the grist as was dictated by your cohort. Cohort. I want a cohort. John cannot do anything with the grist as of this moment. That is up to the suburb player. I see. Yes, that will suffice. Rose Grist deletes the perfectly generic objects. 6 units of build grist are restored to your grist cache. Expense the grist to drag a new plank from the balcony in the direction of the PDA. Run across the precarious platform swiftly. It does look precarious, doesn't it? I wasn't sure about that. It's a long way down. Boy, I said make haste on the narrow catwalk. Yes, man. Yes, He's very nervous about the idea, and the strident tone of your commands is starting to make him a little upset. Proceed as your level of comfort dictates. Cautiously walk within range of the PDA. Rose retrieves it. Now take it. Grab the PDA, launching one of the Harlequin figures into the night, and kiss that one goodbye. That's not gonna like that. Pop Rebirth not gonna like that when he notices. Serious business. The following matters have been submitted in a frank and forthright manner for Pipe Fan 413's disapproval. Federal Freak. TY all report. Most hats removed from danger. Tires next. Fedora Freak, you are in our thoughts along with Pipe Fan 413 and his enviable collection of pipes. GL Fedora Freak salvages many hats as practical. Neighbouring house is struck by flaming projectile in light of fire hazard. Evacuating house of all expensive garments. Pipe Fan 413 status of health order, submitting inquiry of concern over cataclysmic events. Pipe Fan 413 reply. Oh my god, words so silly and as serious business. Just one command will suffice, thanks. It looks like you're not the only one trying to locate your father after your disaster. These boring men are uninterested. But they are. Show Pestilog. John, are you okay? You seem a bit tentative. I'm fine, I guess. Since I got here, I feel compelled to do these weird things. I don't really know what to do. By some kind of voice that I can't really even hear. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Perhaps the early symptoms of an anxiety disorder, like post-traumatic stress? Yeah, maybe, who knows? Well, if we can pull yourself together, there are a few more things we should try. Like prototyping the kernel sprite again, if possible. You should hurry, my laptop battery won't last forever. Okay, I'll go back inside. No, don't do that. Hop off this ledge on that to that car. What? No, that sounds incredibly dangerous. Now you've just been a pest. Which turnip truck did you just tumble out of anyway? Who are you? Used in the future, but not many. An unsealed tunnel welcomes hot desert air into its stagnant depths. Okay, we have another game fact. Suburb. Examination of the basics. On connecting with the client user, the server user will be met with the control panel allowing you to manipulate your co-player's environment. You'll find that you're allowed to deploy 4 items at no expense. 3 of these are rather large machines and 1 is a punch card. It is quite possible that you have already deployed some of these items before reading this. If that's the case, you have activated the machine called the crack shooter, such that it displays a countdown. You must proceed to select action A100 of this walkthrough immediately. The life of client users depends on it, and if your co-player has activated this device in your environment too, then yours does as well. But if not, please refrain from doing anything with the crack shooter aside from merely deploying it. This will buy us some time to think things through properly. and to go over the basics of the game before you find your soft, easily punctured head in the jaws of the lion. As mentioned, there are 4 items to consider, each playing a role in a process which appears to have a singular purpose: to manufacture objects out of thin air. The designers of the game, judging by the language used, regard this as a process of sort of alchemy. This may allude to complexities in the production process yet to present themselves, but for now, the variety of objects you are able to create remains quite limited. The items in question are the Cruxeter, again, tread lightly with this one, the Totem Lathe, the Alchemiter, and Pre-Punch Card. I will describe how these devices work in conjunction with each other, and I will use the analogy of having a key made at a hardware store to help you understand. First, deploy all these objects in convenient proximity to each other. Be sure not to block doors or pathways with them. You can always revise the dimensions of rooms to make space for them, but I advise against this or even experimenting with the function. Doing so comes at the expense of build risk, a commodity which appears to be at a premium at the onset, and one you'd be advised to save for later. Cruxeter. Removing the lid signal. At the moment your life becomes a great whirling batshit pandemonium, somewhat resembling the chaos of an especially ethnic wedding. Somewhere a soused uncle deliberately shatters china on the floor, muddy livestock is decorated, and then lost track of. The question is, whose mule is this? At times can be heard over the din. This is now your reality. But aside from that, it marks the beginning of the process I'm about to describe. The countdown begins. Yes. Also, an entity called the Kernel Spy is released, but neither of these things are all that relevant to this process, to my knowledge. More on these things later. What is relevant is the unlimited Cruxeter's ability to dispense Cruxite Dows. It will dispense at least one, though I suspect it is capable of producing more, given parameters I'm not yet familiar with. In my key making analogy, these Dows represent the uncarved pieces of metal which the hardware store employee retrieves from a drawer or a rack. It sets about carving into a key. The 2 following items are needed to do the carving. The pre-punch card is a simple Siladex card containing an item. There's no evidence to suggest the specific item it contains is variable from session to session. The card I deployed contained a blue apple. Yours may be different. It shouldn't matter, hopefully. Additionally, the card, as you may have guessed, is punched like one used with antique computer systems. The patterns of holes comprises data, which I believe corresponds to the instructions for creating the item the card contains. That is, pre-punch suggests there is a way to punch an unpunched card, possibly imprinted with the data for the item it contains. No mechanism for this has presented itself yet. But the data on the card cannot be used to create the item directly. There is a middleman. The middleman is the Totem Lathe. This is essentially the key carving machine. It will carve into your Cruxite Dow a pattern of grooves and contours, the sort of which make a key unique. The instructions for this pattern are supplied by the punch card, which is inserted into the lathe pre-activation to configure its chisels. Once the Dow is carved, you have a totem serving as your key, which can then be used to unlock the card item through your Alchemiter. But at this point, I would diverge from my key-making analogy and switch to a barcode analogy, which is not a terribly strenuous leap to make, since the concepts of a key and barcode are essentially the same, one being the unique pattern of grooves, the other of varying black lines. The Alchemiter. Went up a bit too far. There we go. If you place a Cruxite Dow, carved or uncarved, on the Alchemiter's small pedestal, its robotic arm will scan the contours with a laser, hence the barcode analogy. This is the machine's way of reading the data originally imprinted from the card, transforming that data into a physical object. Though typically this is not done without expense. I believe an uncarved Dow results in the creation of a perfectly generic object, which is a seemingly useless green cube. It costs 2 units of build grist to make, and I do not advise you to waste resources on it. There appears to be many other varieties of grist, also ostensibly used in combinations to create different sorts of items, which possibly offer some insight into the game's use of the term alchemy. The Quite conveniently, there is an exception to this. Creating the item on the pre-punched card costs nothing. This is good because creating the item turns out to be essential. Now that you know this, you can in your own time begin the process. Once you initiate it, naturally there is no going back, so best to be prepared. But you probably shouldn't drag your feet too long. As I mentioned earlier, this is your only means of escape. When you're ready, be prepared to follow the steps in the next section swiftly. A100, so your practice is ticking. Do this to live. Oh, that was a long one. Kind of understood it, and kind of not one of you guys. Let's continue on. In the distance, meteorites fall with great frequency. Fire in the forest burns so hot, not even the rain is putting it out. Check status of battery. The laptop battery is alright for now, but it won't be for long. If the power in the house doesn't come back on, you can think of one last resort, the small backup generator stored behind the mausoleum. Prototype sprite with Betty Crocker box. Betty Crocker. Sure, pestilence. What? Oh man, you're going to use that? That sucks. What a stupid idea. I have to hurry along. I'm running low on battery power. But the cake mix, oh, that's so dumb. I doubt it matters. We might as well just use any old crap lying around. Fine, I guess. The sprite is playing hard to get. Yes, that's what you get for originally prototyping it with something that engenders mischief and prankerism. Do the plotted vegetable instead, it looks delicious. Pipe down, you. This is Rose's decision, not yours. Prototype sprite with Sassacre text. Oh yes, sweet, now we're talking. See if you can distract it. I'll try to sneak up on it. Flail about in a distracting manner. Look at him. The animations are funny in this. The sprite seems to find the distracting manner which you flail about to be rather distracting. The pesky sprite eludes you again. Not even the great Colonel himself can outfox it. You're narrowly missing with your attempt to create the Colonel sprite. You drop the massive tome. The entire house rattles under the astonishing girth of the book. In the other room, Nana's ashes dump onto the sprite, which is caught unawares by the dowser. Inspect hag ashes. Fine. The sacred urn toppled again. This time you're quite sure it wasn't your fault. The sprite is nowhere to be found. Remove cracks to the doorway. Oh man, let it go. I can't find it anywhere in the house. No time to worry about. The next thing we should do is get yourself a copy of the game from the car. You connect to my client so I can repeat your steps and presumably join you wherever you are. I should be able to do this quickly before my house burns down. What, there's a fire? There will be soon. Big G's. So move this thing already. Looks like it requires a lot of grist to move. I don't have enough to relocate the door either. How much do you have? 0? Oh, I thought about jumping to the car from the ledge earlier. That sounds really dangerous. I have a better idea. Meet me upstairs. Do again as purple words say. Must be the words. You're about to head upstairs, but you thought you heard something behind you. It was faint. You could swear it was a small, light-hearted chuckle along the lines of a spirit of ho ho ho. Ignore this woman's antics. sure you even saw a woman, let alone any of her hypothetical antics, but whatever it was, you might have caught a glimpse of it. You might have caught a glimpse of it. It sure gave you the willies. You head upstairs and you wait at the balcony. Your PDA is acting up again. Indulge the device, but be curt with it. Hey bro, check it out. I'm working on some new rhymes. Dude, I don't have the time for your nerdy raps. Come on, this is Hell's of Ill. Just listen. It sounds like you don't even believe me that I was about to get blown up, but I really was. But now I'm in some weird dimension that suburb sent me to or something. And now on top of that, I'm being haunted by my dead grandma. Huh? For real? Yeah, it's true, but I'll talk to you later about it. I think I could drop some sick rhymes about all this. Man, see, I just don't think all the rapping stuff is really as cool as you think it is. No, this will be dope. Check it out. No, I have to go. Bye. Wait. Armageddon's getting wagged on us, but Armageddon, armed and dangerous, sending men in space for saving us. See which player's more courageous, Ben or Bruce. Dudes reach a truce, put their blowshoots to use and suck it up. Affleck's sacrifice, would have to suffice. Fluck it. Broby, a stained glass saint, up on a cross getting hella Christ plagiarist. Bruce, this is like offer that crucifix, snuff of this fucking saviour fuss. Restrained his ass per McLean red up swell. Boost and me remain dangerous when a plan gone astray pays off a wasted Cretaceous. Astray catering to lads of Matt Mahogany, vague remained a dust. Mahogany wasn't even in any of those needy movies, was he? I'll have to make a rap about, I don't know, Morgan Freeman or something, being the president. It'll be called Obama Made It So No One Gives a Shit About Black Presidents in Movies Anymore. So you've got to fill me in on what's going on, so I have something to rap about besides all your dumb shit movies. Enough strange poetry from the red text. Get out to the balcony to find out what Rose has in mind. She's messaged you again. Purple text is less irrational than purple text. True. Pestilog. I'm lifting the car up to the balcony. Oh, okay. Once it is up, retrieve the game, then I'll put it back down on the driveway. But the door is locked. Then break the window. But it's my dad's car. It's just a window, and this is sort of an emergency. Otherwise, I promise I'll handle the car with velvet gloves. Alright. Pick up the car. Alrighty, but guys, I think we're going to leave it here. We've made it to the end of one chapter, and we're about an hour in, which is about my limit for an episode. I don't want to keep you all too long. Connection loss. But anyway, we're going to leave it here, guys. If you've enjoyed this episode, it would really mean the absolute world to me if you could like the page and help that YouTube algorithm gods help me along. Subscribe if you're not already, and share this to your friends. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. You can check out my page for all the latest upload and info. It's the same name as the page, obviously. Games Start the RPG Goddess. I'll be on other socials like Instagram very soon. I wasn't really bothered to set it all up. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this. It's been quite fun. I like this little, web comic game thing. First time I've ever played one like these, and I quite enjoy it. But yeah, you'll have a good one. I hope he's treating you well, and I'll see you in the next one, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is Games Today, and I'm your host, the RPG Goddess. Till next time, guys.